task has fallen to me to give you a little history of WAC. And I'm sure lots of you can remember those days back in the early 90s when we were faced with New York City's proposed regulations that would easily put most of us farmers out of business. They were responding to EPA's demand that they either protect the water at its source or build an expensive filtration plant. And they did exactly what the rest of us would have done. They did the cheaper thing, and the regulations would have cost them a lot less money. But when they discovered that it would have put us out of business, they, along with farmers and our local communities, decided there had to be a better way. And there really weren't any models to look to figure out what to do. So with some kind of stumbling and bumbling, everybody came together and created this new organization, this not-for-profit, that would stand between New York City and its need to regulate and the farmers and what they need to do to be a viable industry. WAC is really important here because it pulls the whole thing together. Yes, we're the alternative to regulations, but without the farmer input, we couldn't make this thing happen. We started out with 10 pilot farms back in 1993 or whenever, just to see how this was going to work. What would we do on farms, and would we get farmers to sign up? And this really was an experiment. Well, now we have 90% of the farms in the watershed with whole farm plans. So we went from 10 pilot farms to 90% signed up. And we have used a great diversity of BMPs on your farms. For you folks, I don't have to explain what a BMP is, right? That's a best management practice. It's everything from big manure storages right down to planting trees along the crepe streams. And research has shown that we've been successful. It's not just the 90% signed up, but we are widely respected within the regulatory community, EPA, and the Department of Health. They count on us to make sure the right things are being done. And interestingly enough, we have a good reputation within the environmental community. Back in those early 90s days, believe it or not, I was working for the Catskill Center as their ag person, and I heard from a lot of environmental groups that they didn't think a voluntary program was going to work. You're going to have to regulate. Well, what they didn't understand is we are a special breed here. We are farmers, and we're already stewards of the land. We already care about what happens, and that's why a voluntary program could work. And I took it upon myself as one of my jobs at the Catskill Center to keep nudging these environmental people to go along with this idea that a voluntary program would work, and I think most of them can see that it can be successful. Since those early days, we've expanded beyond the ag program. We have a forestry program, we have an easement program, we have a farm-to-market program, and New York City pays for just about all of it. There is some federal money that comes in and a few grants, but generally speaking, it's New York City. We also have a small farms program, and I'm a great defender of the small farms program because it covers a lot of acres, so we're talking water quality there. Small farms can become large farms. It's about that $10,000 gross income level. Large farms, you retire, maybe you become a small farm. So I feel no need to discriminate against small farms. I've been in both places here. We've become the model now. There wasn't any model then. Well, there is one now, and we're the model. And people come from all over the world to see how we do this. Their questions are, well, how do you get New York City to pay? Well, they pay because they're the ones getting the benefit. It's their water users getting this good product that we're giving them. So they pay to have the work done. Well, how do you get the farmers to sign up? Well, you get farmers to sign up because we have WAC here, which is farmer-led, farmer-controlled, to make sure that we're doing the best that we can by the farmers. One thing we've done over these 18 or whatever years is we've made mistakes. And all the farmers are going to say, yes, you have. We've made all kinds of mistakes. Sometimes we've underbuilt, sometimes we've overbuilt. But the worst thing we've done is thinking we could get things done quicker than we could. So we don't get to your farm when we think we can, and we kind of leave you out there hanging. And one of the things you're going to be hearing about later today is how we're going to try not to have that happen. We're not going to be perfect about it, but we're going to do our best to see that we get a whole lot better in letting you know when we're going to be there. I want to speak just for a second about the council. We're still made up of farmers. We still have some active dairy farmers on there. We hope to try to reflect the diversity of agriculture within the watershed. We've got vegetable farmer, we've got beef farmers, got a greenhouse guy. The forestry program is represented. So we're still in that position of really trying to represent all kinds of farmers as we go ahead and continue to work with the city and make sure farming stays right here. I thank you very much, and Craig is next, I think, to give some technical stuff.
Some technical stuff. My name is Craig Cashman. I'm the Executive Director of the Watershed Ag Council. I'll talk a little bit about the progress we've made over the years, but I also do want to echo what Sally just said, and that is that the board is farmer-led. And the reason it's farmer-led is because we always need to be right close to the issues. And if you recall, as Sally said, way back when, 15 to 18 years ago, when regulations were breathing down our neck, we realized that there had to be another way. And as Sally said, we decided to do a voluntary program to ensure that federal regulations weren't governing how we operate our farms. And so essentially that's how the council was born. As an organization, we believe in essentially two values, and we try to balance both of those. We try to balance certainly the protection of water quality with the economic viability of agriculture and forestry, and that's what we believe in. That's why our board is made up of the folks on there and who they are. They represent this watershed. So the decisions we make are not just for the benefit of water quality, they're for the benefit of both. Now, a couple of questions have been asked along the way. Well, the funding that comes down to the Watershed Ag Council, that funding certainly is tied to the filtration avoidance decision, and then that funding comes to us with specific criteria of how we spend that. But we have the ability to balance that with these two values, and we continue to do that. But I think it's real important to echo what Sally said, and to keep saying this, is that we have been very, very successful over the years. And it's not because of the Watershed Ag Council. We have wonderful partnerships with Soil and Water and FSA and NRCS and CCE and other organizations, but the collaboration we've had is with you. And that is to make sure that we can keep this voluntary. We have a unfortunate situation in the Susquehanna right now where we all see that regulations are threatening family businesses and family farms. That's sort of where we were years ago. And because we came together and said we can do this voluntarily, we became very successful at it. So let me just talk a little bit about our progress over the last 15 to 18 years. We now have 328 whole farm active plans. That's pretty good. I'll show you a map in a second. We have installed over 5,000 BMPs. So we've gotten better at installing BMPs technically and knowing a little bit more about your farm. We have 15 to 18 years experience collectively as a group of the members we just talked about. There's 324 barnyards, there's 58 calf houses, there are 31 manure storages, 224 spring developments, and we've invested about $36 million on many of those BMP practices. Now that's a lot of work over the last 15 to 18 years on the farms throughout the watershed. These are now the farms, and both large and small, that are active whole farm plans throughout the watershed. We were down in Sullivan County on Monday. We were in Margaretville on Tuesday. We were in Stamford on Wednesday, and here on today, Thursday. You can see, obviously, Delaware County has the majority of the whole farm plans. Sullivan County has the least amount, although many active members there. And it takes a lot to encourage those folks to buy into what we collectively did. And that is that it wasn't the Watershed Ag Council, it was you folks saying there's a better mousetrap, and that's what we built over the years. And this is what we have done as far as progress. 36% particular phosphorus is down, 53 dissolved phosphorus, 64% ammonia. The Cairnsville Reservoir is no longer on the restricted list. P-loading is down 58% in the Cairnsville and 56% in the Pipacton. And again, my section of this is to show you not only that the progress we have made demonstrates our progress, but to illustrate the fact is that without you doing this, we would not be successful collectively. We would probably be in an area where those regulations prevented us from doing our job. So yes, we're responsible for 9 million people and their drinking water, but really it has been our commitment to balance both economic vitality of agriculture and forestry, certainly with water quality. And I think we've done collectively a very good job. We've really tried to say water quality isn't just our most important value, but economic viability is just as important because we have a culture, a way of life in the watershed, and we can balance that, and that's what we've done.